and welcome to Mums at the Table. I am Rachel and here to discuss, divulge and debate, I've got Shona, Fiona and Julie. How are we, ladies?
Good.
Yeah, good. Glad to see you.
Yeah.
Really glad to have you back, Fiona. I'm loving that you're back here with us.
I'm
back. Just to catch you up, if you haven't been at Mums at the Table for a while, she's been away for 4 months looking after a brand new bub. So now she has 4 girls, 2 of them twins, but she's back into the swing of things. Got to ask you though, what's the biggest difference going from 3 kids to 4?
I think for me, the difference happened when I went from 2 to 3.
Oh, really?
Having 4, you just got to remember that you have baby 4. So she's awesome. Oceana's awesome. She's a really good baby and we're blessed to have her here and I'm glad to be back.
That's really important to remember that she's Well, strap yourselves in today because we are talking a lot about grief and processing those really hard moments in life. We're going to be chatting to Lisa Gallate, who has written a book about losing loved ones and being able to have a meaningful life alongside grief. Now, that's worthwhile listening to, so you're going to want to stick around for that. And how did you know when you were done having kids? Was it an easy and quick decision? And do you find yourself in a better mental space when you spend time outside? No, I'm hearing from the sidelines here already. Alicia's got some pyramid workouts while Gia and Olive are going to be in the kitchen making a snack for you. But to get the wheels in motion, I've got a bit of a hot topic. Hot topic is when I ask these ladies a question. They don't know what the question is. But I do want to ask you quickly, how did you feel when you sent your kids off to school for the first time? Because that's a process of letting go and saying goodbye. Like, how did you feel, Shona?
Hallelujah!
Okay, because some mums cry, but I knew
you could have picked that. I was happy to see mine go. Mine has actually been the other side of it. When they finished school, I had a bit of grief, a bit of sadness,
Oh, there you go. Okay, Julie, how did you feel?
That you felt that?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it catches you a bit.
Oh, look, I was a bit of both. I'd been a primary school teacher myself, so I was kind of excited about what they had ahead of them, but I was also, it's a bit sad, end of an era.
Yeah.
I had really mixed feelings about it.
Yeah, I think a lot of mums do. And, I know that you're not quite there yet, Fiona, but you're
Girl,
going to...
I can't even get my kids to childcare.
I was going to say, because you're there in a year, so
I'm already thinking of homeschooling.
No!
My mother is attached. I've got issues.
I love it.
That's why it's glad, we're out of the hibernation phase. But yeah, I think I'll be a wreck.
When you say hibernation, what do you mean?
Oh, because when I have babies, I stay indoors for 3 months.
Yep, right, okay, no worries. Yeah, look, for me, it was different for each daughter, so I was really excited for my second one. I think it was really good for our relationship for her to be at school. But yeah, my last one's starting next year, so I'm actually more sentimental about it than I thought I would be. I thought I'd be like, yeah, she's going, this is great for her. I'm excited for her. I'm excited for me. But I'm starting to feel a little bit nervous about it. Anyway, I'll have to get over it.
Go and have a coffee with your girlfriends.
Yeah, apparently that's what you do.
Yeah.
Well, I was blessed to spend a lot of time outside during my early schooling years. But what is it about the outdoors that gets people? Well, to American author Fran Lebowitz, it's the place you must pass through in order to get from your apartment to your taxi. But our resident psychologist Colette Smart thinks it's so much more. She's written an article for our latest Mums at the Table magazine about nature and happiness. Now, I can already hear Shona already, because tell us how you feel about, nature. We already know, but tell us.
Overrated.
Overrated.
Definitely overrated.
It's not a place where you feel differently or you sort of start to get your drive back or anything?
No. My drive is in the in the shopping centres.
In air-conditioned stuff in air?
No, I'm a real people person, so...
There are people outside.
Really? Yeah, they're hikers, they're doing exercise. No, I don't get my buzz from being outside. No.
All right. Julie, did you spend a lot of time with your kids outside
Yeah,
when they were young?
we did a lot of camping.
Yeah.
And with other families that had camping, so we did camping, 4-wheel driving, and the whole setting up the camp thing is overrated. But once you've done that, I just loved it, and our kids have such great memories of doing those things.
Kids' behaviour is so different when they're outside to inside, though, don't you think?
We couldn't take our kids on expensive holidays, but they have the best memories from their childhood. And I know for myself, I mightn't think, I really want to go for a walk, but my dog gets so excited, and I wish I could be as excited as he was about going for a walk. But once I get out there and do it, I always come back going, I'm really glad I did it, because I know it helps for me.
I just feel like my kids are so different when they're outside. Like, you don't have to take toys to go to the beach. Like, you can take a spade and bucket, but when you go there, they're just so happy picking up the pebbles and playing in the sand. Like, I just feel like they are happier people outside. Like, they have less stress.
I think God's also made us to be more connected to nature as well. You know, in the Bible, the first book, Genesis, talks about a rainbow where He's given us, you know, a covenant between the people that He won't destroy the world with the flood anymore. I think that's a great, you know, when we are out in nature, it's good to be in one.
Yeah,
and
I feel like I connect with God in nature in a way that I can't.
You've got to remember, some of us don't. That's not where I find God. So,
and even being a stay-at-home mum, getting out to the letterbox was exciting. Feeling that air on your face after having a baby is a game changer. Girls, let me tell you. Right? So I'm all about getting out now that I've had kids.
And how many moments do you have when you just want to tear your hair out and you're like, we have got to get out of the house?
But you know,
Whether
the
it's
best
going to
thing,
the shop.
shopping centre.
or send your husband with the kids out to nature.
Yeah,
and then have a little bit
do
at
that.
home on your own. That's really good too.
Oh, look, well, if you would like to see some ideas on how to get outside, you're welcome to get a copy of our free magazine, Mums at the Table. All you need to do is write to us at hello@thetabletv.com and we will send you your free copy. Colette has got some great ideas on what to do outside. Well, we're taking you into the gym. We're going to hit you over with Alicia. She's got fitness pyramids. Have a look.
Hi, it's Alicia, Table's personal trainer, back with you again. We've got another exercise idea and workout tip today with the girls. So, have you ever heard, girls, of a ladder workout before? No, not a ladder workout. A pyramid. I just had a baby brain moment. A pyramid workout. Baby brain.
I was like, you taught us about ladder workouts.
Yeah, true. That's true. Yeah, what about a pyramid workout?
Haven't heard of it.
Okay. So let me explain it and then we're going to demonstrate this one. A pyramid workout is basically where you choose your exercises and then you're going to do, and the best way I like to show it is you do, say, 10 reps, then 20, then 30, then 20, then 10. Okay. Now
So you go up and then come back down.
Go up and come back down. So the hardest part of the workout's actually in the middle. Okay.
You choose what kind of exercises, how many exercises?
Sure. So you can pick anything you want, really. Now, if you were to do 10, 20, 30, 20, 10, that 30, and if you did more than, say, 3 exercises, that's going to take you a decent amount of time. So it could take you half an hour, like, to get through that. So if I usually aim for about 3 to 4 exercises, and depending on my time, if I've got 30 to 40 minutes, that will be that'll take up most of that time. Otherwise, if I've only got 20 minutes or something, I might still pick 3 exercises, but I might go 10, 15, 20, 15, 10. So I'm still getting the same principle, but I'm not going to go for as long. Okay, so let's just do a little demonstration. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 2, 1.
That's a lot easier.
So it's not that hard. So Rach, I'm going to get you to come onto the floor. We're going to do push-ups and plank hot hands, okay? So we're going to start with 1 push-up and then 1 set of hot hands, and then continue doing 2 push-ups up to 3, 2 and 1. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, can you just count it? Because I won't be able to.
I will count. That's what I'm here for. All right, so 1 push-up. Awesome. 1 set of hot hands. That's it. Now 2 push-ups. Look at her go on her toes. Now 2 sets of hot hands. Beautiful. Now 3 and 2 and 1. Awesome. Now 3 sets of hot hands.
Oh no, the pressure's on now that we said that. You've got to keep going.
Ladies, I got this.
All right, 2 push-ups this time. We've got to the top of the pyramid, back on our way down.
Upside down pyramid, kind of.
Yeah. Yep, and now 1 push-up and 1 set of hot hands. Okay, done. Cool. So that wasn't that bad, was it?
But normally, how many would you do in a session?
Yeah, normally I would probably do, I'd start with 10 reps on each exercise. Say I did squats, push-ups, and maybe hot hands for a core exercise. I'd do 10, and then 15 or 20 is my next, so that it's going to take longer. And obviously you can have your drink break in there as well as you go. So you don't have to fully go back to back
drink break.
like Rach did. But then you at least have a structure. So you're kind of getting to that hardest part of the workout and then you're kind of tapering back down. Now, I ran this with my local group sessions a few months back, and we did 10, 20, 30, 20, 10. They were absolutely stuffed. So if you're looking for a really good way to work out, this is awesome because 30 reps of an exercise is a lot, particularly if you're going to do, 20 or more. And doing like 30 walking lunges, for example, like that's going to kill. You're going to
Push-ups would kill.
That's right. So it is a really big challenge in that way to do that. So if you're looking for some ideas, this is just one way that you can mix it up in your workouts at home. However, we do, of course, have our 10-minute workouts on our YouTube channel that you can always come and join us on, and we get creative on there as well. So if you're looking for that, just go to our YouTube channel, and we would love you to come work out with us, because we believe in fitness and health here, and we want you to be your fittest and your strongest. See ya.
Essential Baby reported on model Megan Gale's public announcement that she and partner Sean Hampson were done and dusted on their expanding family. Although if you read the article, you might not actually be convinced the shop was shut up and barred for good. But the decision to say no to having more kids can be a long one to process. Julie, did you have the number of kids that you wanted to have?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah,
So-
I was good. Done, finished.
And it sounds like it was an easy decision by the tone in your voice.
You know what? I don't even remember it being a decision. It
Oh,
was
really?
just, yeah, I don't remember thinking, will I, won't I? I do remember thinking after number 2, I think I'd rather jump off the Harbour Bridge than have another child.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was easy for me.
But
So
that
was
only
that your
lasts.
choice though, or was it, was it something you discussed with your husband?
I don't remember discussing it, actually. I just
Not his
remember it
decision.
being, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're sort of like in this. You've just had your 4th, Fiona. So what's going through your head?
Look, I'm still trying to recover.
Too early. Too early.
Mentally, I think I would love to have another baby, babies, right? I would love to mentally, but
I love that.
physically, no, we're done.
Yeah.
It was arduous labour the last month, so we're done.
Yeah.
That's what I say, but never say never.
I was going to say, because that feeling doesn't, like, of wanting to sort of get your head out of the space doesn't last forever, though. No, you
that's
sort of get a
right.
bit clucky at other times.
Well, that's it, because
Yeah.
there's so many. I've got friends who have had big gaps between kids, and they long to have a baby again. So
See, I never picked
I
up
think it's
anyone
human
else's
nature.
baby before I had a baby of my own. I wasn't naturally really maternal until
Neither
I had...
was I.
Really?
But I don't know what happened.
Really
Something went
interesting.
wrong.
It was really interesting. Just a few weeks ago, we went down and saw our first grandchild, and Gary was the one after Aaron who said, "No more. I've seen what you've gone through.
Yeah.
No more babies. I'm happy to, sort all this out." He picked up this 8-week-old baby, slung it over his shoulder. The baby went to sleep. He's sitting there going, "Oh, what another one!"
And you said...
And I went, "That horse has bolted."
Yeah. But
Not
I think
doing that.
It's definitely something we need to discuss with our partners.
probably.
And I think
Yeah.
more importantly, contemplating, praying, preparing or
Yes.
stopping the process needs to be done in
But
consultation
also-
with God as well.
Yeah.
I think
But
that's
also
more
there's
important.
that sadness of actually, like we talked about just before with the
is sad.
children going off to school. It's an end of an era. It's something
Yeah.
that's finished. Once you make that decision and you go and do whatever you've got to do to stop having children, that's it.
But for
It's
some
finished.
people-
You think it's important that we do it prayerfully and carefully?
Yes. Yeah.
Because some of these things that we stop, there I am rhyming again, sorry, is some of these things that we stop are irreversible.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
think God
But life-
planned us
But life
in
is
certain
full of
ways.
stages, and I think whatever stage it is, whether it's stopping to have children, helping them make decisions about leaving home, they're all stages that you really do have to think really carefully about.
Really carefully.
And pray
But
about.
not everyone
yeah.
gets a say
Yeah.
in it. Like
Yeah.
you sort of get what you get. Some
Yeah.
people really struggle to
Yeah.
have another child. There's
Yeah.
lots of
Health.
things that go on. But see, I don't know. I feel a bit different because after we had our second, I know my husband did not want any more, and I mourned for ages because I didn't originally want my own kids, and so this took me by a huge surprise. And I just was like, I was devastated, and I'm like, where is this coming from? Like, what is this wet stuff in my eyes? Like I was like, why do I want this third child? Like, why do I want it? And I couldn't answer that question. Surprise, we had a third.
And that's God.
Yeah, well, we did. There was a lot of prayer. There was a lot of like talking and lamenting to God, going like, "This is your call. I'm leaving it with you." And then when we had our third, I really felt at peace. And I can't even tell you. I cannot literally describe properly what those feelings were, but I felt at peace, and I still do. Like I felt complete. Yeah. So cheesy, isn't it?
Yes. From the hovering mother.
Yeah. But with your last child, did you feel like when they went through some of those milestones? Like, did you sort of linger on those a bit more, like those newborn cuddles and things like that?
Well, I'm doing that now with Oceana. I'm looking at her saying, you know, this is my last baby, so cry all you want, you know, and I'm not as tired as I was with the other kids.
I remember having a lot of feeding problems with my firstborn and trying to, you know, stick out breastfeeding instead of going onto the bottle. When my second one started doing it, I thought, I'm not doing this again. This is my last child. I want to enjoy this child as much as I possibly can, and I'm going to do what works.
I think there's something to that, and I think everyone has to walk their own journey. And as you said, they've got a lot to consider, but they've got to talk to their partner about it because it's got to be a joint decision. You've both got to be on board looking after those kids and raising them. Well, how did you come to that decision? Was it made for you? Or did you eventually give in to that yearning and have another one years later? Let us know on Facebook. We'd love to hear from you. Well, from a tough decision to an easy one, should you make these oatmeal cookies for a snack? Yes, you should. We've got Gia and Olive in the kitchen. They're going to show you how.
What are we making? No, we're not. We're making oatmeal biscuits. Thank you, Crystal, because my friend Crystal gave me one of hers and I thought it was delicious. I was like, wow, this is so tasty. She said it's only 2 ingredients and all it was is mashed banana and 1 cup of oats, like quick oats. That's all, and that makes a biscuit. You put it in the oven for 12 minutes and you got a biscuit. And she did add some choc chips. So I've got some non-dairy choc chips, which you can get from any health food shop. Some supermarkets have them as well. I use 2 tablespoons of chocolate chips just to give it some flavour, but you can use sultanas if it's for the kids' lunches. I've just got 2 bananas in here and I just mashed it just before we started filming, and 1 cup of oats. My friend mentioned that it's better to use quick oats. She thinks it just binds better, and then you just mix it together. Hey, and then we got our little biscuits. I'm going to use my fingers for it. It just becomes like a cookie dough when you mix it through.
Can I have a little try?
Yeah, you can. See how I've mixed that through? Just make it look like cookie dough. So there is no dairy in this. It's just good stuff, lots of fibrous, delicious food. There you go. And I'm just gonna make it into like a little cookie or biscuit. There you go. And you can, if you don't want to put any of the choc chips or the sultanas, on the website on tabletv.com, you will find all our recipes on there, and on there I actually give you some options. So there we go. We're going to put it in the oven and we're going to show you what it looks like as soon as it's finished. Okay, so our 2-ingredient cookie biscuits are ready and they look awesome. They just were in the oven for 12 minutes on 200, and we got our, and you know what, we got our little taste tester who's going to help us. Do you want to have some? I would put, oh, they look really good. I'm going to try some. No, I need to try some too. That's awesome. Once they cool out, they're gooey. They're delicious. So once they cool down, you can put them in Ziploc bags for your kids for lunch, and it'll fill them up because you've got the oats in there too. Go to our website on tabletv.com and follow us with all the different recipes that we have. And please, if you want social media, Facebook page is The Table TV Show, and you will find us there. See you soon.
Accomplished lawyer and mum of 3, Lisa Gallate has endured more loss than most of us have or ever will. She's here to tell us about her story, her life journey with multiple losses and being an unfortunate expert on grieving. She's the author of Hitting My Reset, a memoir on grief and how to make it fit into your life. Lisa, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you coming in.
Thanks very much for having me.
Now, I'd really sort of like to start out by understanding your story a bit more, because you talk in your book about a lot of your griefs, but are you able to share with us who are those people in your life you've lost?
Yes, of course. So my book speaks about the persons in my life who were closest to me in terms of the death experiences that I've gone through. So I lost my sister at 21 and her partner at 26 in a car accident, which I have written about in the book, followed by my first husband who committed suicide. And then we lost my younger brother to brain cancer, and he was a father of 2 young children at the time. And then I've also written about my father's near-death experience from undiagnosed diabetes, my mother's long and very slow and painful demise to Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease.
and my own experience of multiple miscarriages in trying to have our own young family. So it's been a very long journey.
It's almost unfathomable to think what you've actually been through. How do you face life? Like, how does life look?
I think life looks as good as it can, depending on your own perspective and the way that you deal with life's trials and tribulations. And I think it's very much a matter of setting your own perspective for your changed landscape as a result of the experiences that you go through in your lifetime, and whether that grief is grief from loss or from lost relationships or from lost environments or from the death of loved ones. Grief can be very painful to go through and a very long, enduring process, and I don't believe that it's something that you can immediately heal yourself from. And
I was going to say that. Is it something like, you seem like you've got it all together, but was it always like that? Like, how did you get from that grieving state to someone who can look at it and analyse and write a book about it?
I think it's a really long process, Fiona, and also at different times I still feel it very keenly, and your grief is something that can transport you into all of those memories, both good and bad, and that longing for those people to still be in your life.
And how does that longing last? How long does that longing last, and does it intensify, or does it settle as time goes on?
I think sometimes it can be very acute, almost as if the grief experience that you're suffering is very new and it's only just happened as a result of their deaths. So there are a lot of triggers in our lives, particularly things like anniversaries and birthdays and Christmases, but there are also other triggers, such as when people speak to you, or you might hear a song, or you might have an experience where your environment might trigger something in terms of a memory. And at times like that, sometimes it can feel like the death is very much
very fresh, back at square one.
That's right.
Lisa, would you describe yourself as basically a positive person who sees the best in things, or do you think that affected the way your personality affected the way you've grieved? And if you have you seen people around you done it in a very different way than you?
I think in some respects my age probably helped me and also disassisted me, because I didn't have the experience of having lost a sibling at the time that I lost my sister. And so it was a very raw, real emotion that I went through that I had no prior experience of and no preparation for. Yep. I do think I'm a positive person. I think I'm also probably quite a realist. So it was through both the positivity and the realism that my life was up to me, and how I was going to live it, and how I was going to endure and manage this grief, and how I was going to make it fit into my life. And that's very much what the book is about, is how we can fit that grief into our lives.
You talk in your book about some of the practical things that you can do when you're grieving, or to help you through the grieving process. Can you give us some of those practical tips?
Yeah, sure, Shona. It's a really good question, because I think that although grief is something that we all experience, I think we all experience it differently in different ways and at different times. And so there's really no right or wrong way to grieve, but there are lots of things that I think we can do to try and manage the grief. So some things that I found useful were to find my fan club. So to find the people that really matter, that are in your network, who may not necessarily be your immediate family or your closest friends, who may be able to share and understand and be active listeners as you are going through your grieving process, and who may be able to share their perspectives as well that may be different to your own, and they may come from your wider social network. Also, some other things such as being honest with yourself and your grieving process, so you can be honest with other people about it, and so that they can learn and understand how to help you in that grieving process.
Because that's quite a hard process, isn't it, to be honest about grieving, because people don't like to see you crying and being upset, and or they don't know how to handle it, do they?
That's exactly right, Shona. I think it's far more about how people feel uncomfortable about those reactions and our emotions than it is about our entitlement to feel how we feel and to be able to help us process those emotions at particular times. I mean, I do talk as well about being prepared for those triggers, so those anniversaries and those special moments or events in your life.
And how do you prepare?
Well, sometimes I think it's a matter of anticipating what's going to happen, working out whether you want to spend that time or day or event or place with other people or by yourself, and what symbolic things you might do on those particular occasions, or it might also be that you have to prepare yourself for moments that are completely unexpected, when perhaps, as I have, I've been in the supermarket and heard a supermarket song, and most of them are usually very cheesy, but they will bring up memories, and sometimes I've found myself down an aisle crying as I'm reaching for a can of beans, but it's allowing myself to feel that, or...
So you allow yourself to grieve. Allow
myself to grieve, or otherwise learning how to park it so that I can acknowledge that trigger and then decide that that's not something I can feel at that immediate moment, and I will park it so that I can deal with it later on when I've got the time.
Did you find learning to be comfortable showing grief made other people feel comfortable about you showing grief and therefore them as well?
Absolutely, Julie. So I have found that by being honest with myself, it's made it possible for me to be honest with others. So I had to allow myself to feel and process my emotions, and in doing that it actually helped other people understand how to respond as well, because if I could be honest with them, they could then be honest with me and say, actually, I don't know how to respond. How can I help you?
That's exactly it, because so often you have someone who's close to you that might have lost someone and you don't know how to approach them. So what worked for you? What was comforting for you with people that in your network, if they were reaching out? What do you think is okay and what's not okay?
Well, I think what's okay is that people are honest and realistic with you, and that they try and share as much as they can of their experience, and that they allow you to share and express your feelings, and that they are genuine in their listening.
Is that all you need? Someone to listen?
Someone to listen.
Not to necessarily say...
You'll be okay.
The good things, that...
You'll feel better in time.
Yeah.
You will heal.
Right.
You'll get over this. I don't think that anybody can really analyse or assess somebody's ability to process the grief that they're feeling. So perhaps these are things that are not okay.
Yeah.
How much of your grieving have you allowed your children to see?
That's a really good question, Rachel, because although I talk about sharing my family and my family experiences and being honest with them about it, I have actually chosen not to be vocal and expressive in front of my children when it comes to my grief. So I do talk to them about death and the process of death and how it affects people, but I don't talk to them directly about how I am feeling or how...
Is there a reason why?
I think partly because at this stage they're very young children.
Okay. So when they're
I think as they develop and they develop their own emotional maturity, I think they'll be able to understand more, and they'll be able to process those feelings without being upset that I'm upset.
And I guess they're important people in your life, so at some point you'll want them to know about your sister or your brother.
That's exactly right, and I have absolutely shared my siblings with them, my experiences and my thoughts and my memories of them, so that they can understand the rich tapestry of family history that makes up who they are and how they
we've actually got a couple, like a limited number of your books that we want to be able to share with our viewers, because there's no doubt people who are out there and they're going through grief. So we do have a limited number. If you would like a copy of Lisa's book, all you need to do is write to us at hello@thetabletv.com to get your copy. There's a limited number, so get in quick. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you coming in to spend time with us.
Pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
And ladies, always a pleasure, never a chore to have you and have a chat. But until next week, we'll take another week off and we'll be back with more great topics. See you then.